The Ancients' World. Chapter 311, Two-Sided Search. Nothing, absolutely nothing. We've been searching inns all over the city for a few hours now, and there are no signs or clues to where Haley and Jasmine might be. The only thing I can think of is where she would search for me, and I like isolation and places that aren't traveled too often. We're going to have to change up our game plan, hey. Sally already knows where my head is at. This is something that makes me madder the longer I'm stuck doing it. Mainly since it's my fault, we're stuck searching for each other. I didn't make any plans for how to meet up or how to find each other when she got here. Yeah, I got some more ideas on where she could be. Time to change of tactics. We leave the inn we're currently in and start walking down the road. The roads are packed, and there are tons of players looking for people to take on local dungeons. The less traveled and occupied parts of the city are near the walls on the northern end. Make sure you don't lift your hood for anything, Sally. We're going to a bad part of town. She nods her head and makes sure her hood is extra secure on her head. The part of the city we're heading to is full of less than savory individuals that'll be more than aggressive after seeing a girl as beautiful as Sally. Do you think she's changed anything about her looks or clothes? What if you can't recognize her? The points Sally is bringing up are good ones, but I doubt she's changed her gear since the last time I saw her. What I'm worried about is how long it's going to take to find each other. It adds fuel to my anger at myself that we have to go to these shady places in the city. The thought of Sally being uncomfortable or looked at in a vile way makes my insides boil. Once we get to the part of the city we're heading to, I want you to be on guard. I'm not going to be overprotective. She's strong. I know she's not going to let anything bad come her way. She has the power to kill anyone in this city. The legacy class she has speaks for that. Don't worry. I'll make sure you don't have to worry about me. I have faith in her power and fighting abilities. So I'm not going to be an overbearing and clingy boyfriend. She's an adult, and I'm going to treat her like one. Of course, if things get too much for her, I'll step in and help, but there aren't any NPCs that are strong enough to hurt her anymore. Not any in this city. Enough chit-chat. We've got a slum to check out. That's the best way I can describe the place we're going to. It's not a place that people would stay if they had a choice. I would if I were alone, but that's different, though. POV, Haley T.A.W. Location, outside, searching the slums. Time, 9:45 am. These slums aren't a place that a player would stay, and the only reason Sarah would is that it's isolated. Thinking about it, he wouldn't come to a place like this, not with Sally traveling with him. I can't believe open streets can smell so bad. Jasmine has been suffering from the rank odor coming from the overflow sewers. Heard a rumor that this part of the city doesn't have maintenance to its magical devices to get rid of the sewage, and it's slowly piling up under the streets. You're going to have to tough it out until we're done checking all the likely places he'd be. Once we're done here, we can get to a better part of the city. The smell is slowly getting to me too. I wish I had the foresight to bring a mask. The few people that are here aren't giving us friendly looks, and that's cause we stick out. We've got good gear, and we're not in the same filthy condition as everyone else. The men's stares are what's bothering me. They can't take their eyes off us. Haley, I'm uncomfortable with this. She doesn't have to tell me. Given her past, these are familiar looks to her. She moves closer to my side, and she keeps a hand on the handle of her blade. Nothing is going to happen to you. I'm betting they can see there is a difference in power between them and us. All the system notifications of being inspected tell me this, and I know Jasmine is experiencing the same thing. She doesn't have the system to tell her, but she can still feel being inspected. Some of the men are following behind us and keeping their distance too. I have half a mind to turn around and kill them all, but the risk to Sarah and Sally's mission stops me. If I get the eyes of the higher-ups in the Elven Kingdom on me, it'll jeopardize the cover that we currently have. Off in the distance, I can see a taller hooded figure standing next to a shorter feminine one. What gives their identity away is the way the male figure is standing. It's the same way my brother does. A part of me is hoping it'll be this easy, and we don't have to spend any more time in the slums or other parts of the city. We slowly make an approach and keep up appearances, not jumping the gun. Jasmine doesn't know who she's about to meet. POV, Saliandra Orvalo. Location, slums. Time, 10:02 a.m. The amount Sarah has paid for information isn't worth it. These idiots don't know anything about Haley. Sarah is getting more frustrated the longer this goes on. Sarah. Before Sarah can ask another question to the man in front of us, a female voice comes from behind us. One that I'm familiar with, and I can't stop the smile from spreading on my face. We both turn around and we two hooded females. I look at the shorter one and the only features I can make out with her hood on are black hair and a small spread of freckles. Talk about fortunate timing, Haley. I was about to ditch searching these slums for you. The tone in Sarah's voice is one I only hear him have with Haley. She chuckles and lightly slugs his shoulder. What took you guys so long anyway? I expected you a few days ago, but since it's taken this long I'm guessing you took some sort of detour. Haley lightly nods her head, but before she can respond, the man we were just talking to gets a little pissy that he's not received the rest of his payment yet. He gets mad and starts flailing his arms around, and shouting threats. In an instant, Sarah grabs the man's neck and lifts him off the ground with one hand. He's choking on his words and can barely breathe. If Sarah wanted to, he'd kill him. When I let you go, you're going to run as fast as you can. Understand? He quickly shakes his head and Sarah lets go of him. As soon as his feet touch the ground, he's off and heading around a corner into an alleyway. Sarah turns back to Haley for an explanation of his question. We decided to take a stop off at a dungeon that rewarded a legacy class. Jasmine is now the wielder of the Last Wish legacy class. I've never heard of such a class, and Sarah's expression can't be seen right now. Knowing him, he probably knows about the class and everything about it. It's nice to meet you, Jasmine. I'm Sarah Adamo, and this lovely lady is Sally. I've heard some interesting stories about you from Haley. He reaches over and gently shakes her hand and I do the same. It's nice to finally meet the girl that Haley's been traveling with. She's like me, an ex-slave. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength 7095, Endurance 7045, Dexterity 7215, Speed 8240, Focus 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560,000/76,560,000,000 Mana, 216,600,000/216,600,000,000. Stat points, 30 Armor rating, 500. Inventory dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, very rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses 5x Camping Gear, Food Rations 4x, Dried Meat 4x, Fishing Poles 2x, Fish 8x, Festival Garbs 2x. Passive perks. Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active skills. Heaven's Light LVL.59325/5900 protected by Heaven LVL.59225/5900/LVL.774600/130000 Perry LVL.5380/5300 Double Strike /A King Slayer /A Raging Machine /A Winged Glory Angelic Flight Divine Pressure Exertion Divinity Pulse Controlled Fun. Chapter 312, Finally Together. Haley walks next to me as Sally and Jasmine follow close behind. I didn't think it'd be so easy to find you. In truth, I figured it would take a while to find you. Seems my hunch about the slums were right. She sounds genuinely happy that we're together again. I'll be the first to admit it's nice having family around again. What I'm curious about is Jasmine. She is much different than Haley. She's energetic and positive. Haley is more like me, quiet and observant. The little information you gave about Jasmine has me wondering why you didn't explain more to me. She's so different from us. I didn't expect you to have a friend like that. Haley chuckles and points behind her, where Sally is. That's a fair point. Sally is quite different from me. Normally different personalities clash, but not in my case with Sally. She's bashful and timid, yet it disappears at the perfect times. Someone I never thought I'd be with. Jasmine is a ball of energy. I'm not denying that. But, below that bubbly exterior, she's a scared girl now. It makes sense they're more similar than not. Jasmine must not know about me yet, or she might not care. Have you told her? I make sure my question is low enough for only her to hear. Haley stares at me for a second and lightly shakes her head. Do you plan to? Her silence tells me a lot. Must be a reason she hasn't told her. She sighs and turns her gaze away from me. She stares at the streets as we're slowly leaving the slums and rejoining the more civilized part of society. She's a devoted follower of the church and the gods of light. I was hoping that it would come up in a surprising way for her. In a private setting, not out in the open. No need to be so blunt with the hints. That's perfectly reasonable to me. They're staying at an inn on the other side of town, but it'd be better if we were all together in one location. That way, the planning won't be so complicated. We need a bigger place to stay while we plan to get past the border. I have ideas, but I need to talk with you and Jasmine first. Haley understands perfectly, and I'm glad she does. Having her with me will make this easier. She's a powerful legendary class wielder, after all. She's probably the second strongest player right behind me. There aren't any places that have a room available for 4 people, so we're going to squat in a vacant home. Sally and I have done it before. Sort of done it before. I killed the owner. He was a horrible man and criminal. Haley gives me a crooked look. POV, Salyandra Orvalo. Location, walking the streets of the city. Time, 10:22 a.m. Jasmine and I are walking together. Sarah and Haley wanted some time to talk and catch up without the two of us looming over their shoulders. They're talking quietly, making sure we can't hear them. Haley told me that you're an ex-slave out of nowhere. I'm asked a question many with my past would be offended by, but considering who's asking, I understand. Haley told Sarah and me that Jasmine was a slave at a point in her early life too. What you were told is true. I'm also an ex-slave. Ex-slaves understand one another, but it's hard to talk about with anyone. Even someone who's lived the same life you have. I escaped around my 20th birthday, that was over 80 years ago. I'm still an elf, and I was born long before them. Slavery doesn't change with the times. It was outlawed back then, and it's outlawed now. That never stopped any of them from trying, though. Wow, I escaped around my 14th birthday. It's been a hard 6 years for me. My heart cracks with her words. I was born into slavery, my father being a nameless bandit who captured my mother. She was either born into slavery herself or captured extremely young and grew up in it. It's hard, isn't it? My words come out without me thinking, like an instinct. She lowers her head, and her face scrunches up, trying to hold back the tears. It's hard to let go of the past, but Sarah, he makes me forget sometimes. The words just come out, and Jasmine looks at me, shocked. Sometimes I forget that I'm an ex-slave when I'm with Sarah. The way he treats me causes a feeling in me, washes away all my pain and makes me a different person. You're lucky. Then anytime I tell someone what I used to be, they look at me as if I'm riddled with diseases. I would get looks like that too when I told people I thought would understand. Jasmine dries the coming tears before they actually fall. I reach my arm over and wrap my arm around her. You and I, we're both safe now, and we've met amazing people who don't judge us for the bad things that have happened to us. Everything is okay now. She leans her head against me and wraps her arm around my back. I'm glad that I've met Jasmine. POV, Fenrir, Beast of Ragnarok. Location, leaving Overworld. Time, 11 AM. That took way longer than it ever should have, but now I'm free from the discussions about what to do when the old gods return. Michael and Gabriel are starting to move in their plans themselves. The old gods are coming, but we have enough time until they get here. The Almighty Father has tasked me with finding an object. A weapon of great power and something that will be needed for this coming war. Sarah. We don't need him yet, but soon a battle will be coming to Overworld. I'm tasked with bringing Sarah here. I have to wait until Michael and Gabriel are done with their plans, but when they are, that's when I have to grab Sarah. Hopefully, it won't be too inconvenient for him. POV, T.A.W. Location, squatting in a vacant apartment. Time, 11:20 AM. Never in my life did I think I'd be squatting like a homeless person. Buying a place to stay is too risky and expensive, and renting is impossible because no NPC will sell to a player right now. Sarah, I won't forget this. Making your own family break into a place and pretend it's ours. My mocking tone causes a chuckle from my brother. He leans back on the ragged couch and looks over to Sally. Sally and Jasmine are talking in the kitchen, looking for any food. They won't find any. The owner wouldn't leave anything worth something here. Yet, desperate times call for desperate measures. You're going to have to sleep on the floor, just so you know. Now that irks me. I'm not sleeping on the floor. One thing this place is lacking is beds, and all four of us can't sleep on one raggedy-ass couch. If anyone is sleeping on the ground, it's you. We ladies need something soft to sleep on, and we can all fit on that couch. But with you, there isn't enough room. Our banter goes back and forth, and I feel like this is just like old times. Back on Earth. Before we can keep going, Jasmine comes out, and I know that face. She's hungry, but I can't lie. I'm hungry too. We skipped breakfast to start looking. Don't worry. I'll go and get us some food. You all wait here. I'll be back in a minute. Sarah gets up and heads for the door, and leaves. My smile grows as I look at Sally and Jasmine talking. As if they've known each other their entire lives. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength 7095, Endurance 7045, Dexterity 7215, Speed 8240, Focus 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560,000/76,560,000,000 Mana, 216,600,000/216,600,000,000. Stat points, 30 Armor Rating, 500. Inventory Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's whistle, divine. Sally's dresses 5x camping gear food rations 4x dried meat 4x fishing poles 2x fish 8x festival garbs 2x. Passive perks. Inheritor of the sword, son of heaven, slayer of evil, holy willow trees, savior, finder of legends, the divine who has legend, destined for greatness, dungeon diver and overachiever. Active skills. Heaven's Light LVL .59 325/5900 protected by Heaven LVL .59 225/5900/LVL .77 4600/130000 parry LVL .5380/5300 double strike n/a King Slayer n/a Raging Machine n/a Winged Glory angelic flight divine pressure exertion divinity pulse controlled fun. Chapter 313, A Retelling of a Meeting. The food that I brought back for everyone has gone fast. Sally and Jasmine are the ones that ate the most. Their appetites are something to be feared. Most would say it's unnatural for people to eat the way you two do. Haley speaks what I'm thinking. Sally doesn't give her words a second thought and spreads herself out on the couch, relaxing after a hot meal. Jasmine gives Haley an annoyed look, one mixed with a sense of calling Haley a hypocrite. Oh, shut up, you've eaten the same way I have on occasion from how hungry you were. Not to mention Emerald, why doesn't she get any flack? The green-striped tiger cub. A legacy-grade magical beast. I almost forgot about her. I'm betting she's grown since the last I saw her. Emerald peeks her head up from the plate on the floor and stares at Jasmine. Emerald eats her food like a wild animal, but she has the perfect excuse. She is technically a wild animal. Real classy, Jasmine. Directing blame on an adolescent animal. Comparing yourself to her should say everything. Their banter is something that I find a little funny. It's similar to the banter that Haley and I used to have, and the thought of it brings back some fond memories. Geez, Haley. What crawled up your ass? I'm just trying to eat here, and you're attacking me about how fast I consume food. Jasmine takes it up a notch, and this is starting to sound like an argument. Haley raises her hands in mock defeat and with a smile. She's got the reaction she wanted, and now she's going to leave it alone. Haley has been doing this since we were kids. Alright, I'll drop it. I just thought you might want to look a little better considering the situation. She alludes to the fact that I'm Slayer Zirn, the son of Archangel Michael. It's funny to her cause Jasmine doesn't know that's me yet. Jasmine gives a very confused look. She thinks she's among friends. She is, but she wouldn't think that if she knew who I was. Since she is a devoted follower of the church, she'd act differently around me. You're really weird sometimes, Haley. You say the vaguest and obscurest things and at the weirdest and most random times. Haley and I share that trait. In fact, I learned it from her. She is my big sister, after all. All the ways I learned to mess with people I learned from her. Emerald, come here. The tiger cub obeys Haley and immediately makes its way to her. She leaps into her lap and sits down, staring into her eyes. We're going to be staying here for a while, so if you need to use the bathroom, tell me. Yes. Don't want crap everywhere. POV, Jasmine. Location, temporary home, Border City. Time, 11:56 a.m. Haley suddenly jumping on my case like that is something I'm getting used to. She's like the sister I never had, and that's great most of the time. The other part of the time, it's the worst. Sarah, when are we going to start making plans for crossing the border? Haley takes her attention off me and shifts it on Sarah. Getting right down to business on why we're here. Sarah sighs and folds his arms, completely ignoring her question. Haley's reaction is something I've not seen before. She gets frustrated, but not in a way that she would with a problem or a disgusting guy making advances. More like how one would get frustrated when not taken seriously. How about we talk tomorrow? Let's all just relax for the night. The dismissiveness upsets Haley. This is amazing. I've never seen someone push Haley's buttons so easily. Sally, are Haley and Sarah like this all the time? While Haley tries to get something from Sarah, I ask Sally if she knows anything about what's going on. She's seen them together the most, and she'd know more since she knows Sarah better than I do. She grins at me and moves a little closer to whisper. She checks to make sure Haley and Sarah aren't paying attention to what she's about to say, and she waves for me to move in a little closer. Haley is sensitive when it comes to Sarah. She feels inferior to him and tries to compensate for it any way she can. Her whispers are so low that I can barely hear her. That explains a little of what I'm seeing. I never thought an older sibling could act that way to a younger sibling. It must be because Sarah is a man, and she's a woman. Some sort of natural conflict there or something. That doesn't explain why it's so easy for Sarah to set her off, though she finishes her own explanation, leaving room for more information to be learned and added. I look at the way Sally looks at Sarah, and it's a way that I've never seen an ex-slave look at a man. She's in total and absolute love with him. Mind if I ask you something? She turns her head and nods at me. What did he do to make you look at him like that? She isn't offended or upset in any way by the question. She understands where I'm coming from since we have similar pasts. POV, Salyandra Orvalo. Location, temporary home, border city. Time, 12:02 p.m. She must be wondering what I used to wonder. Would someone ever love me enough to see past the damaged part of me? Sarah came into my life like a bolt of lightning one day. I was working in an inn that he was staying at. When I brought him some food her ordered, he stunk so bad from battles that I gagged and made fun of him. She's on the edge of her seat. That day, it's the greatest day of my life. Instead of doing what he should have done, which is get mad, she smiled and laughed along with me. Her reaction tells me everything. A normal person wouldn't laugh along with you. He explained to me that he got done with some hard journey and fighting beasts. There was no time for him to clean up. That was the worst he's ever smelled. My eyes rest on the relaxed Sarah and the growing anger of Haley. The next day, he asked me if I wanted to come with him on all his journeys and be his adventuring partner. I remember the conversation as if it was yesterday. I'm paraphrasing right now, but this is the general topic of what was said. He was so sweet and sincere. Jasmine is waiting for more of the story, but I don't know if I should continue. Well, what did he say that convinced you to go with him? I'll never forget the words he said to me. No one has ever said something to me like that before in my entire life up to that point. Even now, it brings a few tears to my eyes. That was the day I started to believe in a chance of love again. She's gripping my hand and is staring into my eyes. He said it was because I made him laugh. That I was totally honest even though it was an accident. I said that. Her eyes flashed something that I might have had. He asked me to meet him by the city gates that day if I was interested. I took a leap of faith, and it's the best thing that's happened to me. She's almost crying now. She looks back over to Haley and Sarah too, and a small smile appears on her face. So there are good ones out there. I never thought I'd see one myself. You're a lucky girl, Sally. I hope you never lose him or forget that the world isn't as dark as she thinks it is. I used to be like her, but I see the world differently. Once she finds someone, everything will change for her. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength 7095, Endurance 7045, Dexterity 7215, Speed 8240, Focus 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560,000,000/76,560,000,000 Mana, 216,600,000,216,600,000,000. Stat points, 30 armor rating. 500. Inventory dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, very rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses 5x Camping Gear Food Rations 4x Dried Meat 4x Fishing Poles 2x Fish 8x Festival Garbs 2x. Passive perks. Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active skills. Heaven's Light LVL .59 325/5900 protected by Heaven LVL .59 225/5900/LVL .77 4600/1300000 Parry LVL .5380/5300 Double Strike N/A King Slayer N/A Raging Machine N/A Winged Glory Angelic Flight Divine Pressure Exertion Divinity Pulse Controlled Fun. Chapter 314, Day Before Plan Making. Haley acting like this reminds me of when we were teenagers. It's something that we both claim to have outgrown but can easily get sucked back into. I don't know why you're getting so upset, Haley. All I said is we'll wait until tomorrow before we jump into plans. She's been trying to get a reaction out of me for that last hour and a half. I'm not dragged into sibling conflict at the drop of a few words. It takes a lot for me to engage. But Haley, she knows the right buttons to push, and she also knows that there isn't anything off limits. Find, give up, little brother. I should have known that you wouldn't be ready to plan when we got here. The more she talks, the little closer she gets to a reaction from me. Before she can continue, Sally stands up from where she's sitting and makes her way over to us. She stands next to me and runs her fingers through my hair. You two have been at it long enough. Taking a break from all the arguing is needed for all of us. I'm starting to get annoyed from the both of you. Thank God for you, Sally. She doesn't listen to me when she gets like this. Haley sighs and closes her eyes, giving up this battle for a reaction of some kind. There is something that I can say to set her off completely, but I'm above that. No, I'm not. This is why I'm the favorite. My whispered mumble is barely audible, but it's enough for Haley to hear it. She glares at me with a wave of white-hot anger. There are many things that set her off, but the biggest one is who's the favorite among our parents. While she's Dad's favorite, I know I'm Mom's favorite. How dare you? I was ready to drop this. But no. You have to be a petty little bitch. When from a burning matchstick into an atomic bomb. My grin cracks through my calm exterior, and her face gets redder as she sees it. This seals the small competition that we were having, marking me the winner and her the only one to have a reaction. My big sister. That's quite the sailor's mouth you have. Wouldn't want to hear Dad hear you say things like that. She grits her teeth and balls her hands into fists. Dad was always adamant about no one cussing. He was a firm believer that those who frequently use foul language are of low intelligence, failing to articulate themselves correctly and use the common cuss words as substitutes. You are so. Arg. She lets out an frustrated squeal and grips her hair in her hands. You drive me crazy. I'm not full on smiling, and it's just adding fuel to the fire. This is just like the good old days when we weren't in a dangerous world. Having the power to do the things we can do. Maybe that's why you could never get a job as an actress, always cussing and being crazy. No one wants to work with that. These are the words that break the camel's back. She leaps at me, claws ready to scratch my eyes out. POV, Haley Adamo. Location, temporary home, Border City. Time, 1:36 p.m. Sarah grabs my wrists before I can reach his neck or face. I land on top of him as we both fall off the chair. Neither of us is using our powers in this fight. We're doing it the old-fashioned way. You've got some serious balls to talk about my acting career. I'm very sensitive when it comes to my past at trying to become an actress. It's a sore spot for me. His smile never stops, and he stares right into my eyes. What career? You never got a job on the set of a movie. All you've ever done is desperately attempt and sometimes sleep with guys to get a shot. Only to never get anything. All I see is red now. He has my wrists firmly locked up, and I can't get free, but I follow my instincts and do something completely rational to me. I bring my face down, and I bite the shit out of his nose. What the hell are you doing, you crazy woman? This is the first time in a while that we've escalated to a physical altercation. He pushes me off, and I land gracefully on the other side of the room. He stands up, and there is blood dripping from his nose. My teeth marks are visible and in a perfect place to be visible. He grips the handle to his sword, and so do I, but before we can continue, Sally and Jasmine both get between us. Okay, it's time for everyone to calm down. You've both said things that you don't say to a family member. Take a few breaths and think about where this is escalating to. Sally's calm and flowing voice eases Sarah, and he takes his hand off his blade. Jasmine looks at me and gives me a look of concern. Sally's right, guys, now isn't the time to indulge in fights and arguments that are obviously a tradition between you two. As badly as I want to punish him for the mean things he's said, they're right. I take my hand off my weapon and turn around. I leave the room to cool off. My pride is damaged right now. I was trying to get a rise out of him, but instead, all that happened was him getting a rise out of me. I'll talk to her. Jasmine's voice comes from the other room and is quickly following me. She stays behind me and decides it's smarter to be quiet for now. I open the door to an empty room and take a seat next to the window. POV, Salyandra Orvalo. Location, temporary home, border city. Time, 1:44 p.m. Sarah is over the sink in the kitchen and cleaning up the blood. His wound is already healed, but the blood that was produced is still there. I run my hand on his back and stand next to him. Did you really have to say things like that? I can't stop my question from coming out, and it sounds like I'm taking her side. Sarah doesn't react how someone normally would. He turns to me, and he's trying his hardest not to laugh. I smack his shoulder. It's not funny, Sarah. You really hurt your sister with what you said. You need to apologize to her. He starts to full-on laugh, and he's quickly running out of breath. I can't believe how childish these two are when they get started. I've never seen anything like it. I turn away in anger myself, and I'm tempted to go and console Haley since he's obviously not bothered. Oh, come on. You know that was funny. She got so mad she bit my nose. Do you know how much work and patience it took me to get her to that point? Don't try and deny how funny that was. These two, they're absolutely nuts. He gently spins me around and looks into my eyes. He's taking on a more relaxed expression and has a soft smile now. If it'll make you feel better, I'll apologize. Don't be surprised if it starts her up again. Knowing her, she'll think I'm trying to go out in a better light than her. The thought of that happening causes me to smile and let out a little laugh. He grins as I quickly cover my lips and try to hide and deny the fact I just laughed too. Don't you say a thing. He puts his hands up in mock surrender, but his grin is so smug and teasing that my face becomes flushed in an instant. Ah! I hope she bites your nose off next time. He starts to laugh again, and I turn my head away from him. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength 7095, Endurance 7045, Dexterity 7215, Speed 8240, Focus 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560,000,000/76,560,000,000 mana, 216,600,000,000/216,600,000,000. Stat points, 30 armor rating. 500. Inventory dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, very rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses 5x Camping Gear Food Rations 4x Dried Meat 4x Fishing Poles 2x Fish 8x Festival Garbs 2x. Passive perks. Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active skills. Heaven's Light LVL .59 325/5900 protected by Heaven LVL .59 225/5900/LVL .77 4600/130000 parry LVL .5380/5300 double strike n/a King Slayer n/a Raging Machine n/a Winged Glory Angelic Flight Divine Pressure Exertion Divinity Pulse Controlled Fun. Chapter 315, Parents Making Plans. The oceans of Gaia are some of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen. Earth's oceans were never like this in my lifetime, my parents' lifetime, and my grandparents' lifetime. Honey, do you want some chos? A voice that I know all too well reaches across the beach. Chris and Marcus have been having fun in the water, and I've been bathing in the sun. It's nice to have my young body back, restored to the time before I have 3 children. Yeah, get me too, please. He runs back to the booth and starts ordering. The day at this beach is coming to an end soon, and Marcus is still playing in the water. We've been here several hours at this point, and I'm tanning far more than I thought I would. The sun isn't setting for a few more hours anyway, so there is no harm in staying for a little longer. Mommy, come and play. The water is so nice. Marcus's childlike voice rings from the direction of the water. My eyes find him, and he's waving me over. No sense in keeping him waiting. My quick run towards him causes him to laugh and jump into the water to get away. I follow him regardless of the time it takes to adjust to the cool water. The rhythmic waves cause him to halt his escape and be sent back in my direction. He's sent right at me, and I catch him in my arms. I've got you now. My pretend bites and spins cause him to laugh and squeal in joy. We stop spinning as we both get hit by a wave that knocks me over. We go down laughing and completely soaked. What's the point in having a bathing suit if I don't use it? Watch out, Mommy. Daddy is sneaking up behind you. My sweet boy warns me of approaching danger. I spin us around, and we're both lifted and taken to the waves. Marcus and I can't help having yelps of enjoyment. After getting deep enough, Chris jumps with all of us, and we're all brought underwater and thrown forward by a wave. Christopher Adamo. Where do you get off throwing your wife and son into the waves of the ocean? Marcus re-emerges right next to me and charges towards Chris, splashing water and challenging him to a splash battle. Marcus is quickly losing, but I decide to help him, and we gang up on Chris. My own family is turning against me. The betrayal stings more than words can describe. Marcus and I overwhelm him, and he has to give up. He makes a quick approach to me and wraps me in his arms, and kisses me. Marcus lets out a groan and goes back to playing. We stop sharing our lips and head back to dry land and our chos. We take a seat on our dry blankets, and the warm heat of the sun shines on us, drying our skin and clothes. Here you go, honey. He hands me my cho, and we watch as Marcus continues playing in the water, using his fire magic to get creative. He's stronger than both of us now. POV, Christopher Adamo. Location, Coastal City Lubbock. Time, 4:14 p.m. Violet rests her head on my shoulder and scoots a little closer. She munches on her cho as we watch our youngest son play. How do you think they're doing? My expectation for a question to come up regarding our other children was high. In fact, I was starting to wonder why she hadn't brought it up sooner. My arm wraps around her, and I hug her. Sarah and Haley are both adults and strong. They're probably doing better than any other players would. I'm sure they're off on great adventures and making memories that they'll never forget. I miss them too, honey. The more time that I haven't seen them, the more I realize Violet's pain. It wasn't so bad for me in the beginning, but now I'm starting to feel it. We've been in Lübeck for a while now, and I can say we've fulfilled my dream of seeing the ocean. Now it's time that we do something that Violet wants. Since we've done what I've always wanted to do. Now it's time that we do something you want. Name anything in the world, and we'll do it. Being her husband, I know her answer already. She takes another bite from her churro and slowly chews it. Smiling as Marcus has fun. I want my other children back, Chris. I want all of us to be together and be a family, have adventures and make memories all together. She's not the only one, and if that's what she wants, then that's what we're going to do. Finding them is going to be hard, but not impossible. There are some ideas I have on how to start looking, and the first is using our connections with the Steel Legion Guild. We can start whenever you're ready, and the first thing we need to do is contact the guild for information. If they don't have anything, we'll have to use magic items. Recently, player mages and scientists have come up with a magical device. One that allows you to track down a certain player, but it can only be a relative. They were specifically made for players to track down families that have been separated after the collision. We'll start our search in a couple of days. I want Marcus to have some more fun before we start up again. My hand rubs up and down her shoulder, and I kiss the side of her head. POV, Violet Adamo. Location, Hotel, Coastal City Lübeck. Time, 6:08 p.m. Finding my only daughter and my eldest son is my desire, and after all this time, my pain for not being with them only increases. Marcus and Chris have done a great job at trying to get my mind off my other children, but I'm not going to put it off any longer. We're going to find them, and we're going to succeed in becoming a family again. The new magical devices that have been made aren't cheap, and that's why they're our second option. If the Steel Legion has nothing for us, we're going to have to use all of our funds to get the magical device. I believe it's called Familia Finder. Mommy, can we go out to eat tonight? Marcus pulls me from my thoughts with a tug at my armor. My hand rests on his head, and I gently run my fingers through his hair. I don't know, sweetie. You know that the locals don't like us players. The only restaurants that accept us are player-owned. There are some nearby, but they're all expensive. While we have enough gold to be called rich, we still keep to our old habits of living. We don't like spending heaps of money when we don't need to. Being poor for the majority of our lives has hard encoded in us a lifestyle that makes saving money the priority. Okay, we can now go tell your father in the other room what we're planning. His bright smile makes it all worth it. He runs to the other room, and I lay back on the bed. I wonder what Haley and Sarah are doing right now. Knowing them, they split up at the first chance they got. Sarah is probably in some deep dungeon fighting off monsters strong enough to destroy entire cities. The thought of any of my kids dying tears me to pieces. Even though they can respawn, it's not something that any parent would want to experience. Chris pokes his head through the doorway, and he's grinning just a little. What's this I hear about going out to eat? He quickly makes his way over and pulls me from the bed. Let's not waste any more time then, I'm starving, and Marcus looks ready to eat a boot. He always knows how to make me laugh. I'm the luckiest mom and wife in the world. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength 7095, Endurance 7045, Dexterity 7215, Speed 8240, Focus 19660. Mana Aura Control 6/100%. Health 76,560,000/76,560,000,000 Mana 216,600,000/216,600,000,000. Stat Points 30. Armor Rating 500. Inventory Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses 5x Camping Gear Food Rations 4x Dried Meat 4x Fishing Poles 2x Fish 8x Festival Garbs 2x. Passive Perks: Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active Skills: Heaven's Light LVL .59 325/5900, Protected by Heaven LVL .59 225/5900/LVL .77 4600/1300000, Parry LVL .5380/5300, Double Strike N/A King Slayer N/A Raging Machine N/A Winged Glory, Angelic Flight, Divine Pressure, Exertion, Divinity Pulse, Controlled Fun. Chapter 316, A Passing Night. Being the odd man out when it comes to who gets to sleep on the couch is totally biased in this situation. The logic that Haley has used is one that I'll argue. Men should sacrifice for a woman because it's the right thing to do. What a load of crap. The only reason I'm sleeping on the floor is cause I've got my camping gear to make it comfortable. Sally staying with me is also a big reason why I'm okay giving up the couch without a fight. Don't think about it so much, Sarah, just try and get some sleep. The beautiful elf that I call my girlfriend and lover has her head resting over my heart and is using me as a body pillow. The downside to all of this is we can't sleep in our underwear. Having company takes that off the table. We're probably not going to be able to have any physical fun until we're in separate rooms with walls that have silencing enchantments. I know, I just hate when I have to do something I don't want to do cause it's somehow considered natural for other guys to do. My opinions on equality aren't controversial, but I'll enforce them if I want to. Going down that rabbit hole isn't something I want to think about right now. Giving Haley what she wants is the simplest solution. You're really sweet for not fighting for the couch. Besides, it's not like it's horrible that we have to sleep on the floor together. She's right about that. If there is anyone that I'd share a floor with, it's Sally. She circles her finger around my chest and clings to me. I gently rub her back in an attempt to relax her too. I'm glad that you think I'm sweet, but you're being biased too. Most people wouldn't call another sweet when they're angry about giving up something for the benefit of another. She lightly chuckles and wraps her around me, and squeezes. We're staying in one of the rooms in the house, away from the couch. Haley and Jasmine are sharing the couch and definitely more comfortable than us. You're right, I'll always be biased when it comes to you, and don't try to pretend it isn't the same for you. You're far more biased when it comes to me. She's noticed that I can't help it. She's my girl. Sally begins to hum softly since that there is silence. Her voice is beautiful, but she refuses to sing for me, saying it's too embarrassing. She's able to hum from time to time for me, and she chooses when I get to hear such a lovely sound. I wish you'd sing for me once would be enough. She stops humming and lifts her body. She moves over me, and her head is hanging over me. You want me to sing for you? I'll consider it. From now on we're alone, and they're probably asleep. I can try to be quiet. She wants to have some time to ourselves. I'll have to say no. There is too much of a risk that they'll wake up. I know Sally won't be able to keep quiet. And neither would I. POV, Haley Adamo. Location, temporary home, Border City. Time, 8:29 p.m. My sleep doesn't come as easily as it does for Jasmine. She's already sound asleep and lightly snoring. We're back to back on the couch, and I'm lost in thought regarding tomorrow. Sarah said we're going to start planning tomorrow, and I know we will, but no matter how I think about it, I don't see how we're sneaking through the borders without anyone knowing. The amount of magical security must be the highest out of all the kingdoms, and it's probably the most secure country in the entirety of Gaia. There are many ways this will go the way we want it to, and the simplest solutions expose us in our likely plan. If Sarah flies us over the border, some alarm or barrier will notify the intrusion. They have the magic to get our player information, and they'll see that Sarah, or known as Slayer Zirn, has entered the Elven Kingdom. No matter how I play it out in my head, nothing works, and any plans that we have won't work. Sarah has to know something that I don't and have a plan. It irks me to no end being left out of the loop. That's just how he is, though. I have to deal with it no matter how much I hate it. Jasmine stirs a little behind me. She settles back in, and her snoring continues on. Jasmine still hasn't found out who Sarah really is. She's in for one hell of a surprise, and that's probably putting it lightly. The reason Sarah hasn't told is probably how she'll treat him. She'll probably treat him like an angel or god and not like a regular person. Which is what Sarah prefers. Sarah doesn't want to be bowed to. I know that about him. It's who he is. This journey is going to be way more complicated than I wanted it to be. I never realized the type of security or what we're really up against until I got here. My eyes close, and I clear my mind of any thoughts. I'll need to get some sleep if I want anything to be easy tomorrow. Sleep is underrated by a lot of people. It's one of the main things that people do, which keeps our brains sharp. My thoughts slowly drift into unconsciousness, and I find myself asleep not long after the empty thoughts. POV, Salyandra Orvalo. Location, temporary home, border city. Time, 8:44 p.m. Despite Sarah saying no, I've convinced him to at least give me some kisses. He's become a fantastic kisser, and his lips move perfectly with mine. They fit as if they were made for each other. He gently pushes me away, and I look down at him, and his cheeks are lightly flushed. We both have half-lidded eyes and have trouble finding our breath. His hand reaches up, and his fingers glide across my cheek. I'm thinking that I made a bad decision in saying no. Can I still say yes? My response is slowly sinking back down and kissing him. My hands run through his black hair, and his hands slide down my back. His touch gives me goosebumps. I never thought I'd experience something like this. Actual pleasure when being with someone. His hands rest on my rear, and he gives a light squeeze. I can't help releasing a moan into his mouth. I pull away, and I'm betting my face is flushed red. When you touch me, it feels like hot lava starts flowing through me. That's the best way I can describe it. It starts from my lower region and slowly spreads through my body. He smiles and turns on his side, and I mimic his movement. He shifts his body again, and he's now on top. He leans back and sits between my legs. He slowly undoes my belt and slides it off, following my pants and underwear. I quickly take off my shirt and bra. His armor and weapons disappear as they do for players. His face lowers towards the space between my legs, and as he gets closer, my breathing becomes more rapid. His hands are gripping my ankles and making sure my legs are spread apart. His lips slowly kiss my lower ones, and I see fireworks as he does. My legs instantly start shaking, and the only one who's ever done this to me is him. I've never felt pleasure from having sex other than with him. Since the very first time we did it, it's been nothing short of magical for me. "You're so wet." His breathless words cause me to have another high, and I watch in complete embarrassment as some of my fluid covers his face. I have to cover my eyes, and as I do, he ups the intensity. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength 7095, Endurance 7045, Dexterity 7215, Speed 8240, Focus 19660. Mana Aura Control 6/100%. Health 76,560,000/76,560,000,000 Mana 216,600,000/216,600,000,000. Stat Points 30. Armor Rating 500. Inventory Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses 5x Camping Gear Food Rations 4x Dried Meat 4x Fishing Poles 2x Fish 8x Festival Garbs 2x. Passive Perks: Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active Skills: Heaven's Light LVL .59 325/5900, Protected by Heaven LVL .59 225/5900/LVL .77 4600/130000, Parry LVL .5380/5300, Double Strike N/A King Slayer N/A Raging Machine N/A Winged Glory, Angelic Flight, Divine Pressure, Exertion, Divinity Pulse, Controlled Fun. Chapter 317, The Morning of Awkwardness. My anger towards my brother this morning will drive me to kill him. Sally and he decided to engage in more than one round of sex last night, and Jasmine nor I could sleep until they were finished. Sally was so loud. She woke us up. When they get out here I will murder him. I'm completely drained and exhausted. Plus, hearing the cries of passion caused by my brother isn't cool. Jasmine stays quiet as we sit on the couch. She has been blushing for the last 2 hours. It has to be really awkward for her. Sally didn't seem like the type to be comfortable doing that sort of thing. She must really love Sarah if she can feel and sound like that with him. They're both ex-slaves, and Jasmine doesn't like it when men look at her wrong. It's safe to assume that Sally is the same way, and Jasmine is right. Sally really has to love Sarah to allow him to touch her. She felt a lot of pleasure from the noise coming from the direction they were in. When she's with him, it's different for her. You can say that again. This is going to be so awkward. I hate this. I hate this so much. Having to listen to that last night was the worst. It makes my skin crawl just imagining what my brother was doing. It makes me sick that my imagination is working against me and making me see what could have happened. Before Jasmine or I could continue complaining, Sally comes out wrapped in a blanket and still half asleep. She smiles at us and joins us on the couch. She's either ignorant of the fact they were doing it last night, or she's not embarrassed to be heard. Hey, girls, how did you sleep last night? I slept great. She's groggy and slowly trying to wake it. If they were glass in my line of sight, it would shatter from the look I have. What? Did you guys not sleep well on the couch? She really thinks she couldn't have been heard last night. Where does your state of mind have to be to completely forget about something important like that? It's like her thought were sigh escapes my lips, and I relax a little. She didn't care at the moment cause it was too good. Next time, do it when the walls aren't thin. She looks at me a little confused, and realization sets in on her. A massive red flushness spreads across her face. She breaks eye contact and turns her eyes away. She covers her face with her hands, and her toes wrestle with each other. I'm so sorry. I didn't think I was that loud. I knew that it was a bad idea. Sarah. Sarah, get in here. Sally quickly switches from embarrassment to frustration. Sarah pokes his head into the room, and he looks like he just got up. He looks at Sally, and the confusion on his face is obvious. She stands up and makes her way over to him. They heard us last night. You are the biggest idiot in the world. You tricked me. Sarah gives a smug look for some reason. Sally's flush gets deeper, and she grits her teeth in anger. He fully enters the room and looks right into her eyes. I have a bad feeling about this. From what I recall, you were the one who couldn't stop kissing me before bed. If anything, you tricked me. The blush has spread all the way to her ears. Not to mention you were the one making all the noise last night. That's the nail in the coffin. She tries to kick his shin, but that backfires on her. POV, Sarah Adamo. Location, temporary home, border city. Time, 7:25 a.m. She drops the blanket around her, and she grabs the foot she used to kick me. It'd be like kicking metal. I'm more amused at the sight before me. She failed to put on any clothes when she woke up. Why are you so hard? She stomps her foot down and stares at me. The grin on my face turns into a full-blown smile. What's so funny? She hasn't realized she's naked yet. I fold my arms and tilt my head at her. It is kind of cute. Must be pretty cold in here. My not-so-subtle words cause her face to go pale for a second. She looks down and sees what everyone is seeing. She's completely naked, and normally her hair is long enough to cover her nipples. The cold temperature in the room is causing them to point, making them break free from the cover of her hair. Haley and Jasmine are getting a nice view of her rear end, and I'm seeing everything the front has to offer. She lets out a scream and picks the blanket back up. She covers herself like the whole world is watching and takes off past me and towards the room we shared. My eyes fall on Haley and Jasmine, and I laugh a tiny bit. Haley's pissed off look tells me everything I already knew, and Jasmine is looking as embarrassed as Sally did. Sorry, you two. Things kind of got out of control last night. I better got and apologize to Sally too. Haley wants to yell and scream at me. I can see it on her face. She decides to hold off for now, and I take my leave before she changes her mind. The walk back to the room is quick, and I open the door. Sally is on the ground and curled up with the blanket covering her. She has subtle reactions to my approaching footsteps, and when I sit down next to her, she turns away from me and tries not to cry. She's so embarrassed now. I feel terrible. An apology isn't going to be enough in this situation. Sally, I shouldn't have reacted the way I did out there, and it is my fault that we went so far last night. I could have stopped at any time. It felt too good to stop at any point, and I let my lust drive me. That choice has come back to bite me now. POV, Saliandra Orvalo. Location, temporary home, border city. Time, 8:32 a.m. His hand glides across my back, and just at his touch, my anger is quickly melting away. It's not all his fault. It'd be wrong for him to take all the blame, and that's not what I'm mad about. I'm mad that Haley and Jasmine saw me nude. That's not what I'm mad about, Sarah. My whisper is cracking with pain and the effort to hold back tears. He wraps his arms around me and kisses the side of my head. You're mad that the blanket fell down, aren't you? He does get it. That makes me feel a little better. That's my fault too. If I didn't say the things I did, you wouldn't have gotten mad and dropped the blanket. My anger is completely washed away at his words. My body turns on its own, and I hug him back, letting my cries out into his chest. I'll make it up to you. Anything you want me to do, I'll do it. Even if that means I have to show off my birthday suit. I can't help laughing at the idea of Sarah walking out there naked for Haley and Jasmine to see. Haley will try to harm him for such an antic, and Jasmine would be paralyzed. What's under his clothes is only for me to see, and I want him to think the same way about me. Sarah, I want you to be mad that I was seen naked by someone other than you. The thought of other women seeing you nude makes me want to scream. I want you to feel the same way. He lets out a small and calm chuckle as he holds me. The way it feels makes me have butterflies. /N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength 7095, Endurance 7045, Dexterity 7215, Speed 8240, Focus 19660. Mana Aura Control 6/100%. Health 76,560,000/76,560,000,000 Mana 216,600,000/216,600,000,000. Stat Points 30. Armor Rating 500. Inventory Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses 5x Camping Gear Food Rations 4x Dried Meat 4x Fishing Poles 2x Fish 8x Festival Garbs 2x. Passive Perks: Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active Skills: Heaven's Light LVL.59 325/5900, Protected by Heaven LVL.59 225/5900/LVL.77 4600/130000, Parry LVL.5380/5300, Double Strike N/A King Slayer N/A Raging Machine N/A Winged Glory, Angelic Flight, Divine Pressure, Exertion, Divinity Pulse, Controlled Fun. Chapter 318, Making Plans. Sally rests in my arms, and I fear that she's fallen asleep again. We have a lot of research and planning to do today. We really shouldn't have indulged in one another last night. I'm not physically tired, but mentally I'm still wanting a couple more hours of sleep. Sally, you need to wake up, we have things to do today. My gentle stirs wake her. Her eyes flutter open and meet mine. She smiles and reaches a hand up, and runs her fingers across my face. She isn't going to move, is she? My arms find new places on her body, and I lift her in my arms. She coils her arms around my neck for more security. Since you're the genius planner, what are we doing first to get past the border? I've heard rumors and whispers about a place. My knowledge from my past life isn't going to be obsolete when it comes to making plans to get across the border. I've got some ideas, but Haley and Jasmine should be present before I start making plans. Who knows, maybe one of them also has a good idea themselves. Jasmine and Sally are great resources of knowledge for Gaia. While they may not know much about the Elven Kingdom, Sally has helped me greatly with the things she knows. It's a bonus that she's over 100 years old. She knows more than most mortal men and women. I carry her all the way back to the living room. We're both fully dressed now. We get looks from Haley and Jasmine as we enter. Haley releases a long sigh as she scoots over, and I place Sally in the vacant spot. I'm going to continue standing so I can discuss what we're doing. First things first, I'd like to apologize for what happened this morning. That wasn't an appropriate or mature way to handle that. It's awkward saying sorry to a group of people. Sally has already forgiven me, and I apologized earlier when we were alone, but doing it publicly can help. You surprise me, little brother. I didn't think you'd apologize to us, not saying you shouldn't have, but still a nice thing to see. Her mocking grin makes me remember all the times we would mock each other back on Earth. Those are memories I haven't thought of in a while. Sally can't help snickering at the obvious poke at me, and there are many responses that I have to that. Sadly, I have to let it go. We need to discuss plans. Very funny, sister. Let's not start that today. Now let's go over the plan that I've come up with. If any of you have something to add, speak up. Who knows what kind of information anyone has to offer? Any little bit helps with something this complicated. They're all waiting for me to start, and I take a small breath. The main thing we need to do is find a woman by the name of Helda Vora. She's an elf smuggler here in the border city. The main problem is I don't know where she is. Normally, I would know something like this. This isn't the case since I've never been in the Elven Kingdom and thus never needed her to smuggle me in. All I know is she's capable of bringing people in and out of the Elven Kingdom. You're certainly not making it easy, but there are some places in the city we can look. To my surprise, Jasmine is the first to speak. POV, Jasmine. Location, temporary home, border city. Time, 8:58 am. While I don't have much to offer in this situation, I did hear some things the day we got here. I heard there is a hidden tavern under the city. If this Helda woman would be anywhere, that's my best bet. Criminals and other types of non-functioning members of society usually have places like this in popular or frequently traveled cities and areas. The look on Sarah's face is filled with thought and contemplation, a similar look I see on Haley from time to time. The tavern under the city won't be easy to get to. We'll likely need to know someone that can vouch for us. We don't want to reveal our identities to get a free pass. That all seems logical to me. If they knew who Haley was when we go down, they'd let her through. Finding someone to vouch for us isn't practical, in my opinion, and a complicated plan leads to complicated problems to solve. Is there any other way to get into the Elven Kingdom? This seems like a mess waiting to happen. Haley voices what I'm thinking. Sarah doesn't immediately retort with a no. He's thinking about the possibilities. He lets out a short and sharp sigh and rubs his forehead, and pinches the bridge of his nose. Sadly, there isn't. Helda Vora is the only known smuggler that takes non-elves through the borders. But maybe we can get her to come to us instead of us going to her now. That doesn't sound like a bad idea. Instead of having to go through that long process, we can completely avoid it. We're all quiet as we think of an idea on how to do it. Sally is the first to speak up. Well, she is a criminal, right? Sarah nods his head in a brief motion. Wouldn't the promise of a high payment draw her to us? If we pay more than her regular customers, then shouldn't that be enough of a reason to come to us? Sarah folds his arms and closes his eyes. After a few seconds of debating it in his mind, he shakes his head. Helda Vora is a criminal and likes money, but she doesn't take strangers. Not without something big on the line. It has to be more than just gold. A woman like Helda probably has more gold than she knows what to do with. Something else of value seems the next best thing. POV, Haley Adamo. Location, temporary home, border city. Time, 9:06 am. I was hoping that I wouldn't have to do this, but it seems like I have no choice. I have something that might interest her. Everyone's eyes turn to me, and I open my inventory to pull the item out. It's called Photos Morial, and it's a legacy-grade dagger. I can't use it cause it's a smuggler-exclusive item. I could never use it, and it's serving no purpose to me. This is the best way to use the item. Sarah gives a huge smile and holds his hand out. I toss him the dagger, and he inspects it. Wow, I heard stories about Photos Morial, but this is amazing. We all look at him for an explanation of the story. Long story short, this belonged to a famous smuggler that played an important role in many wars during her lifetime. Now that's pretty cool. If I were a betting girl, I'd say the dagger is named after her. The dagger belonged to Jodis Morial, the father of Leia Morial. The owner of this dagger, it's said that the dagger was named after Jodis Morial's wife, Photos Morial. Close enough. I'm surprised that he knows so much about this item. He knows a lot about things many shouldn't. I'm still planning on asking him about how he knows all these things and why his knowledge is superior to everyone else's. Seems like we found the item to draw Helda Vora to us. Now what? Sally is the next to bring up the important step that'll make this succeed or fail. Getting the word to Helda Vora that we have Photos Morial. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength 7095, Endurance 7045, Dexterity 7215, Speed 8240, Focus 19660. Mana Aura Control 6/100%. Health 76,560,000/76,560,000,000 Mana 216,600,000/216,600,000,000. Stat Points 30. Armor Rating 500. Inventory: Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses 5x Camping Gear, Food Rations 4x, Dried Meat 4x, Fishing Poles 2x, Fish 8x, Festival Garbs 2x. Passive Perks: Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active Skills: Heaven's Light LVL.59 325/5900, Protected by Heaven LVL.59 225/5900/LVL.77 4600/1300000, Parry LVL.5380/5300, Double Strike N/A King Slayer N/A Raging Machine N/A Winged Glory, Angelic Flight, Divine Pressure, Exertion, Divinity Pulse, Controlled Fun. Chapter 319, Drawing Out Helda. Vora. I can't believe that I'm holding Photis Moriel. The luck Haley has is amazing. She's got a legacy grade magical beast, and now this. A dagger with many stories and legends behind it. I've been trying to find ways to circumnavigate the requirement to be a smuggler, but there is no way. I'd sound just as disappointed if I found something like this and couldn't use it. While it's not as powerful in attacking and passive abilities as a legendary weapon like the Witness, its bonuses towards the smuggler class put it in a weird place between legacy and legendary. In the hands of anyone else, it's completely useless. Where did you even find this? My curiosity is thoroughly piqued. The original owner of the dagger never said where it was found. The original owner had to sell it in the auction house since they couldn't meet the requirements either. About a week after I got Emerald, I found a dungeon near the T.A.W mountains. It seemed like a great dungeon to get EXP and everything I needed to help level up my class. Little did I know what the reward would be for the first clear of the dungeon. T.A.W, that makes sense. According to what I remember, the T.A.W mountain range was a hotbed for smugglers trying to dodge the tax stops between kingdoms back during the time Leia Moriel was smuggling. Several hundreds of years ago, to be precise. Leia Moriel was known to hang out and do lots of business around and in the T.A.W mountains. My small whisper almost goes unheard. The reactions vary between the girls, but the suspicious look I'm getting from Haley isn't something that I expected. Helda. Vora is definitely going to come out for this. Are you really sure you want to give this up? It'll help, but it's still yours and your choice. Taking the dagger from Haley and using it in our plan isn't what I do. In the end, it's her decision if she's okay using this. She can still sell it for a lot of money to some big guild. This is the only thing that I can see it being useful to us. As badly as I want to sell it, that'd take longer than I'd want. This is the best course of action, as you would say. She grins as she has a mocking edge and half-hearted tone to her voice. I gently toss the dagger back to her, and she places it in her inventory. Now that we have the bait, it's time that we lure in the prey. Spreading that we have such a valuable item as payment for Helda. Vora will do more harm than help. People will come after us knowing what Haley has, and since it isn't bound to her, it can drop in the event she dies. Not saying there is anyone in this city that can kill her, but there are similar risks to this example. The only way we're going to do this clean is if we tell one of Helda. Vora's close friends. Someone that'll get the news to her without letting the criminal underworld here know the hardest part about any exchange. The middleman that brokers for both sides. Locating said close friend just out in the city at random isn't going to work. There are places that we can search specifically, but we don't even know who we're looking for. The person we'll need isn't going to be easy to find. My low-toned contemplation spurs the rest of the group to think. They're all brilliant girls and 4 minds working together is better than 1. POV, T.A.W. Location, temporary home, border city. Time, 9:20 a.m. There isn't anyone that I would know here that could help with that. My thoughts are mostly filled with questions about Sarah and his knowledge regarding everything. It's like he always has some information about an item, location, NPC, just about anything, and it's raising some red flags for me. It's not something a normal player would have. Divine class or not, he shouldn't know all the things he knows. Why don't we go to where we know people are searching for smugglers in the city? That way, we won't have to head to the underground tavern. Sally is the first to suggest something, and it's not bad. Jasmine and Sally are on their own for this. I have my own questions brewing. Being blunt about it isn't going to do any good, and that's his walls up. I need to be subtle and cool about it. Make it seem like something else when I'm actually trying to get information. While that could work, it means that we have to adjust to a timetable that isn't ours. Someone important like a friend of Helda won't be in one place for long. Sarah is quick to explain why it won't work. Sarah is completely focused on trying to figure this out, and that's good for me. Are there any secret locations in the city where they might have someone waiting? My question seems innocent enough, pertaining to the problem at hand. I'm trying to see if Sarah knows anything else that could be considered obscure information regarding this. His silence rings harder for me than for anyone else in the room. There might be his eyes close, and it looks like he trying to remember something. The merchant district has a place we can look. That raises my questions about my brother even more. In the span of a few seconds, he thought of a place that could be it. Having this been the first time he's been to the border city. Mom and Dad wouldn't think twice about it since they see Sarah differently than I do. They see him as a son and growing up. I saw him as competition for our parents' attention. That means my insights regarding the things he hides are better than my parents'. I'll have to keep probing with questions and do it when the time is right. POV, Salyandra Orvalo. Location, temporary home, border city. Time, 9:26 a.m. This is starting to give me a headache, not to mention the stuffy smell coming from the home. It's all just piling on. Why don't we go outside to like a park or something to get some fresh air? I heard there was a pretty cool memorial nearby. There is a park near the city's center, and it holds a memorial to some famous elf. The reactions around the room are the same and make me giggle a bit. Everyone is quick to get up and start heading for the door. I stand up myself and follow. Do you know anything about the memorial, Sarah? Haley decides to question if Sarah might know anything about the memorial. If there's anyone that would know, it's him. Sarah stays silent for a few seconds, and after a second, he takes a breath. I don't know much, only that the elf was one of the main designers for the wall that separates the outside world and the Elven Kingdom. The wall surrounding the country is one of the oldest creations from mortal creatures in Gaia. That sounds about right, from what I know about the wall, at least. The Elven people are one of the oldest races in all of Gaia. It stands to reason that their creations are some of the oldest. It does feel nice to get out of that horrible apartment. The fresh morning air feels amazing, if not slightly chilly. Jasmine and I can agree that the fresh air beats in the home. We're squatting in my leaps and bounds. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength 7095, Endurance 7045, Dexterity 7215, Speed 8240, Focus 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560,000,000/76,560,000,000 mana. 216,600,000,000/216,600,000,000. Stat points, 30 armor rating. 500. Inventory dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, very rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses 5x Camping Gear Food Rations 4x Dried Meat 4x Fishing Poles 2x Fish 8x Festival Garbs 2x. Passive perks. Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active skills. Heaven's Light LVL .59 325/5900 protected by Heaven LVL .59 225/5900/LVL .77 4600/130000 parry LVL .5380/5300 double strike /A King Slayer /A Raging Machine /A Winged Glory Angelic Flight Divine Pressure Exertion Divinity Pulse Controlled Fun. Chapter 320, Drawing Out Helda Vora 2. The name for this park is strange, but it's named after the designer and builder of the wall that surrounds the Elven Kingdom. Holding back on questions for Sarah is what I'm doing right now. There are moments that are appropriate for them, and those are the chances I can use to see what he really knows and why he knows all that he does. Sally is standing next to Sarah in front of Jasmine and me. We're all looking at the massive metal gate that's keeping people out. An elf guard steps forward from the side. The park is closed to new people. Go back the way you came. The malice lacing every part of his voice describes his true feelings for us. Racism against players doesn't really exist. Not really the most accurate word for what us players are going through, but it's the closest one I can think of at the moment. Is there perhaps a toll that can be paid? We're here, and we'd all like to see the amazing creations of the elves. Your race is the most superior in all of Gaia. Sarah strokes the guard's ego with words covered in honey. That's one way to get in, but it might not work due to our suspicious attires and demeanor. The hoods covering our facial features are keeping us well hidden. You're right about us being the superior race to all others. He's falling into the trap. He's not as smart as I thought. He fixes his armor and slowly opens the gate for us. Just by looking at the back of Sarah's head, I can tell there is a huge grin on it. You're most kind, sir. I'm looking forward to seeing and learning all I can about your incredible race. The guard actually smiles at the soft and smooth tone my brother has. We walk through the gate without hesitation, and the guard closes it behind us. Once we're all alone, Sarah starts to laugh. Jasmine and I join in, and Sally giggles along. Talk about a gullible son of a bitch. Didn't think that'd actually work. His laughing slows down as he wipes fake tears away. Now that we're here, I can say for certain that my head is a bit clearer now. The fresh air outside the house we're staying in is clearing my headache away. Jasmine takes a deep breath through her nose and releases it out of her mouth. Too bad we have to go back to that place. I would kill to stay somewhere that isn't a health risk. Not to mention thin walls that don't stop any noises from coming through. Jasmine and I both turn towards the two people that cause such an inconvenience for us. If you're going to have sex, have the decency to be quiet if there's a risk people might hear you. Oh, don't look at me like that, Haley. Do you know how many times I covered for you when you brought a boy over? You were never quiet. I had to tell Dad that I was watching porn so he wouldn't question you. Now that's just not true. I was plenty quiet. Jasmine and Sally both share a look of confusion, not knowing what we're talking about in the slightest. Don't go making up stories. Besides, that's a good thing for you. Mom and Dad thought you might have been gay for a while there. It was a relief for them to know you might be watching porn. My comeback is just as sharp and deep as his. He folds his arms and releases one of the longest sighs I've ever heard. We could go back and forth forever, couldn't we? His tone turns to a soft one, and a smile is seen from the bottom half of his hood. I realize what he means. Even after everything, it's like nothing between us has changed. We're the same big sister and little brother we always were. Salyandra Orvalo. Location, Oakfam Memorial Park. Time, 10:23 a.m. The scene of Sarah and Haley laughing together warms my heart and makes me a little envious. I'd love to have a relationship like that with a sibling if I had one. My main questions are about what they were talking about. I've never heard of this porn, but I'd like to know more. From the sounds of it, porn is a complicated subject. Jasmine might have the same thoughts as me, but I can't be for sure. I move closer to her and lean down a bit to whisper into her ear. Do you have any idea what porn is? She shakes her head and doesn't offer anything in return for possible ideas. We watch as they stop laughing and turn to us. I'm a little embarrassed to ask the question. To my surprise, Jasmine takes out the blunt hammer, and straight up asks them. Haley, what's a porn? Is it some kind of food or activity you're not supposed to do? Jasmine is a little off target with her assumptions, but she's on the right path. Haley and Sarah share a look, and it's plastered all over their faces that they don't want to tell us. That only causes my curiosity to rise even higher. Come in, you guys. We don't want to be the third and fourth wheel here. I back up Jasmine and throw in something that might convince them. It's not fair being left out of the conversation. I'm doing my best to drive it home, and it's slowly working on them. Sarah sighs and rubs the back of his head. His face is in a slight cringe in an effort to find the right words. I'm not sure that you two should know about something like that. It's a pretty sensitive thing, and I don't want to offend either of you. Some of the things from our world would be considered extremely weird and impure to the people of Gaia. That's a fancy way of saying no. Haley walks up to Jasmine and places her hand on her shoulder. It's not like he's saying that you guys wouldn't understand. It's just a subject that's pretty hard to accept. While all our faces are mostly hidden, it's still possible to discern from people's looks. Jasmine is telling everyone that's a bullshit answer, and they know it. POV, Sarah Adamo. Location, Oakfam Memorial Park. Time, 10:31 a.m. These two would flip out knowing what porn is. Jasmine thinks it's food, which should say why this isn't a good thing to talk about. That's utter shit, Haley. What's so bad about it that you can't tell us? The main reason is that you're both ex-slaves. The thought of putting sex out for the whole world to see might bring up something. Gaia doesn't have anything that allows for that, but we don't know how they'll react because of their past with sexual abuse. Listen, there is a reason we're not telling you. We wouldn't keep something from you if we thought it wouldn't hurt both of you. My tone is relaxed and soft, trying to ease them into a state of mind that allows them to think about why we're doing this. Jasmine isn't ready to give up yet, and Sally is staring into my eyes with a passion for finding out what we're hiding. We're not little kids that can't handle some of life's hard times. It'd be nice if you didn't treat us like kids. Sally speaks her piece with confidence filling her eyes. I'm tempted to tell her, but she might hate it and resent me for having access to something like that. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, LVL.193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength 7095, Endurance 7045, Dexterity 7215, Speed 8240, Focus 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560,000,000/76,560,000,000 Mana, 216,600,000/216,600,000,000. Stat points, 30 armor rating. 500. Inventory dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, very rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses 5x Camping Gear Food Rations 4x Dried Meat 4x Fishing Poles 2x Fish 8x Festival Garbs 2x. Passive perks. Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active skills. Heaven's Light LVL .59 325/5900 protected by Heaven LVL .59 225/5900/LVL .77 4600/130000 parry LVL .5380/5300 double strike n/a King Slayer n/a Raging Machine n/a Winged Glory angelic flight divine pressure exertion divinity pulse controlled fun.